Hey guys, this has been one of the weirdest chess games I've ever played. I still feel drained because it lasted almost 5 hours and 100 moves, exactly 100 moves. But I envy you because there will be a lot of value for you in this video. You will learn many things about rook endgames, which are very tricky. You will see how tricky they are at the end of the video. I will not spoil anything. Today I was playing round number 4 in the tournament Lanta Open in Thailand. I was playing Sergei Voronenko from Russia. His rating is around 2000 ELO. So let's dive into the game. I was playing the black pieces, and my opponent surprised me by opening with knight f3. He usually plays one e4, and I was preparing for e4, e6, the French defense and various lines that he plays there. But he surprised me here. I played d5, and we transposed into the Slav defense. The same as Slav. I often use it with black. It's a good weapon. But here, in this system, which is called the Miran, this is all theory, he chose an aggressive g4. And I was happy about it because, you know, I love aggressive attacking chess, and this is exactly what I like, both for white and black. Here, one of the main moves is knight takes. So this is the gambit. White gambits a pawn, but white goes rook g1, and white has ample compensation. So one of the lines is h5, h3, and if the knight moves back, rook takes. So there is this move queen f6, and there are various complications. I will not get into this. I decided to play a different line. I went for h6, and I knew that this is a good line, that it's around equal for black, but I mixed up my opening. Here, one opponent in Kazakhstan in a tournament last year played against me rook g1, and I remember that e5 is the move. Here I break open in the center, because this is a good rule of thumb. If your opponent attacks on the flank, you blow open the center, especially if the opponent's king is still in the center. So this is a good rule of thumb. But here I mixed up my moves. So he went bishop d2, which is also a logical move, and I immediately went e5. But my opponent started thinking around this moment. And here I realized that maybe e5 is not the move in this position. Maybe it's the wrong move. And yeah, it's the wrong move. it's an inaccuracy because he can take. And here, after this move, I realized that I might be in trouble. Because if I take with the pawn, which was the way I always took in the rook g1 line, there is this knight b5 move, and when the bishop drops back, there is this bishop b4 move, and I cannot castle. This bishop is very annoying, and also he can win my bishop by playing knight d6, and also there will be a rook c1 pressuring down this file, and I spent like 20 minutes calculating this variation, and I really didn't like it. Turns out I was right. The computer says it's plus 0.79, so quite a significant advantage for white. And upon seeing this move on the board, I felt that this is not the right recapture, so I recaptured with my knight. It's still not the best position that you could imagine, but it's better than taking with a pawn. At least this square is protected in this variation. So my opponent here went knight e4, attacked my bishop on d6, so I had to retreat with the bishop c7, and still white has some advantage. He went knight g3 to rotate maybe here and attack me, and I really didn't like what was going on. I thought I have to initiate some counterplay. So I took the pawn, and once he took, I jumped in with my knight to e5, saying that I have those two great centralized knights in the center of the board. They are controlling many squares and really intimidating. So I thought I should have some counterplay, and the computer agrees. It's a balanced position, a little bit better for white, but still. So he went h3, protecting this pawn because it was attacked 2 times. And here I just castled. And he went bishop g2. And here I initiate some crazy tactical sequence. I thought, his king is still in the center. Maybe I can exploit that. So I've come up with a move c5, which is objectively not maybe the best move, but still the computer quite likes it. it says that it's one of the best moves. So the idea is that if the knight jumps back, which or forward, which he did, well, this was better, a better move, but still I would have done the same thing. I have knight to b4, and I'm threatening to jump with my knight to d3. And if he takes my knight, I don't take back because that would have lost my bishop, but I have this intermezzo check. And I, for some time, calculated before going for this queen sacrifice, a very interesting one. So he could have sacrificed the queen and taken on c7. So he has 3 minor pieces for the queen. Material is equal. And I thought I should sacrifice an exchange here as well by taking the bishop. The computer says I'm correct, so I'm happy to see that. So this knight is stranded on the rim. So in some variations, I can drop back and take it, and then I will have some material advantage. On the other hand, I could attack down this file. So yeah, it's interesting. The computer says that rook d8 is the best move, and he cannot castle because my queen restricts that. And in this direction, he cannot castle as well. Sorry for my stumbling. I'm so tired after this game, but please stay tuned. This was fascinating. I'm really still processing this intense game. This was just the beginning. So he took the knight with the bishop. I checked him. He could have sacrificed the queen, but it would have been better for me. So he decided to move his king, and I take. Here, he can take my pawn, which he did. So I sacrificed 1 pawn, but his king is still in the center. This rook is not participating in the action, and I really like my position. The computer says I'm a little bit better already. So I take this knight, and if he takes, his pawns are horrible, and this king is wide open. So this is not the choice you want to make. So he took the knight, and here I use the spin and attack this pawn, threatening mate in 1. He goes f4, which is not the best move. And apparently, I'm already winning. Crazy. I didn't know that I'm winning. I thought I have good chances, but I didn't know that I was winning. First of all, I thought about g4, but I didn't like the fact that he can, for example, try to trade 2 queens. Queen d4. Turns out queen a6 is very strong here. What about queen d6? Queen d6, queen d6, queen takes b2, also bad. So what should he have done? I thought it's not the best move, g5. Yeah, he has knight c7, attacking the rook, initiating counterplay. And if I go here, he has knight d5, and his knight is very active. Interesting. I didn't see that, but I decided against going g5 because I thought my king, it is safe. His king is not. Why risk opening up my king? I have a different idea in mind, and I went rook d8, controlling this file and also preventing potential attempts to exchange the queens by him because he's still up a pawn. So it is in his best interest to exchange the queens with such a weak king. The position is around equal, but with a little advantage for black now, slight advantage, minus 0.31. So he went bishop f3, and I went queen b6. Queen b6, and I have a very big advantage already, -2. Turns out bishop f3 was not the best move. So I'm pinning his knight, and I'm threatening, for example, a6 and winning it. But he just goes king g2. He's ready to give up this knight for this bishop. And here I thought for some time, but already because of my bad opening decision, I spent too much time in the opening, so I wanted to move fast to not get too low on time. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go a5. And I really like this move because I've seen one variation that would have been great. Queen e7, a very active move, a very natural move. And here I spotted bishop h4, a beautiful combination that's winning. So I'm protecting the rook, and if he moves his queen back, he's lost because I will take the knight, so he has to take the bishop, but I have this check now. Check, rook d2, and if he goes this way, I don't take the knight, but I rather take this pawn, and it's checkmate in several moves because I'm threatening this, I'm also threatening this and this after he takes. So the king will be hunted down. He will have to give up his queen to not get mated. That would have been a great ending for this game, but unfortunately, my opponent did not go queen e7, but rather he chose a different retreat, queen c3, which is the best move according to the computer. And now I can take, but he will take my bishop, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to win back a pawn. And now the material is equal, but his king is weak, and I'm a little bit lagging in development, but once I get those moves in, I will be at least a little bit better, I thought. The computer agrees with me, but still I had some stronger moves instead of what I did. But never mind, okay, we will not go into all the variations because this is a very, very long game. Rook d1, he tries to exchange the pieces, very logical. Bishop e6, I'm trying to continue my development. b3, and now I'm using my pawn as a weapon to destroy this pawn structure. This is very instructive. You should always try to use your pawns to stop your opponent from barricading the position. This is what pawns are for. So now I'm threatening to take the b3 pawn. He goes f5, trying to initiate counterplay here. I go bishop d5. I'm fine with exchanging those two bishops because his bishop is protecting his king, and his king is quite weak. So I'm okay with this exchange. He takes. It's interesting that had he taken here, I would have had such a beautiful check because he cannot take because he's pinned. And in this variation, I would have also an interesting position. If he takes, I go back and I continue attacking. But this is not what happened. He did not take this pawn, but rather he took the knight with the bishop. I took back. And here he found a nice move, queen c4. Otherwise, he would have lost some material, but queen c4 is a great move, trying to exchange the queens. And here I did actually exchange the queens. I didn't see a better move, but turns out I could have taken the rook. And if he takes my queen, I take his rook, and I have two rooks for the queen, but this pawn is very weak. And this endgame is better for black. I didn't see that. Actually, I didn't spend too much time on this move because I already didn't want to, as I said, didn't want to get too low on time. I didn't have too much time at this moment. So I took the queen, and I decided, you know what, let's play an endgame. This pawn is weak. I will probably win it, and you know, I won't lose this game. Definitely, I'll try to play for a win. But he was really precise here. He defended the pawn, and once I attacked it the second time, he did not defend it the second time because that would be tragic. I would have gone b5, and he cannot take on pain of rook takes c1. So he did not go for this passive defense. He went for activity. He went rook b1, attacking my pawn. And sacrificing the pawn on a2. Why sacrificing? You will see this variation. So we take, takes, and I check him. This is a fork. He has to move with his king, and I take this pawn. But it's a theoretical draw. It's a theoretical draw. 35 moves into the game, we reach a theoretically drawn rook endgame. He offered me a draw here, but I decided to play on. And you know what? My decision was correct. You will see why. I'm not spoiling anything, by the way, but I'm just saying that there were hidden nuances in this position. So the way you defend such positions if you are playing down a pawn, if you're playing white, is you put your rook behind the pawn. And this is the correct defense, and the computer says it's minus 0.6, but actually even Stockfish will not be able to win this. So it's very good. It's a very good position for white because white can exchange some pawns. White can even try attacking me over here, and white is very active, whereas I cannot go with my king nowhere because the rook is cutting me off on this file. So here I decided to give him a check. He went king f4, and I calculated some variations that involved going rook here, pushing my pawn, but I decided this is not leading me anywhere. He'll just move his pawns, exchange them, and then check me, and I will not have any way forward. So I decided to transform the position and go into a different endgame, rook endgame 3 versus 2. Also theoretically drawn, 3 pawns versus 2 pawns on the same flank are a draw. But it's not as easy, especially when you are low on time. I had around 5 minutes in this position. He had like 10 minutes. And that was only the start of the adventures in this game. So I went king h7. He went here, pinning me over there. And I decided, you know what, this pawn is too menacing. So I will exchange it. I went g5 check. He has to exchange because otherwise, for example, if he goes here, I'll go here, and suddenly the endgame is winning for me because I will take this pawn sooner or later. So he has to take en passant. You know the rule, right? En passant. When the pawn moves 2 squares forward, you can take it like this. This is the en passant rule. I take, check, I block. Also dead equal. Even without this pawn, even if this pawn disappears, this is a dead equal, dead drawn rook endgame. And I actually thought about agreeing to the draw, offering a draw here, but I decided, you know what, let's try to grind this endgame, like Magnus Carlsen. Let's try to play on. I don't risk anything. Maybe my opponent makes a mixed mistake. He is older than me. He's like 40 years old. I'm 30. So I have more energy. Maybe he will lose track of what's going on. Maybe something like that will happen. And in fact, I was close to the truth in this assumption. So he went rook a8. I maneuvered a little bit. He tried harassing my pawns. Here I just moved back and forth, trying to gain some time, because after each move I get 30 seconds extra bonus time. So I checked him and I decided, you know what, I will exchange one of the pawns. I know that this is another theoretically drawn endgame, but still I did not find a way forward with my king because he just checks me and I cannot go anywhere because of this rook. So I decided to exchange one of the pawns, and this is another dead drawn rook endgame. And I will tell you how to draw such endgames really easily if you have your king opposing one pawn and one rook opposing one rook. So first of all, you just stand idly do nothing. That's what we did, both of us. So the computer evaluation is dead equal. So nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. And then you should reach the filader position. What is the filader position? Imagine that you, let's just play some stupid moves like, I don't know, rook b6, rook here, king here, king here, king here, rook here. This is the filader position. You put your rook on the 3rd rank, or if you're playing black, on the 6th rank. And you just wait. You just wait. You just do nothing. The king cannot move. If you get checked, you move. You don't do anything. So the king cannot reach these squares. So you have to advance the pawn. And you just wait. You stand on this file. And as soon as the pawn reaches this file, you go down. This is the filader technique. And then you check your opponent from behind. And the opponent can do nothing. Like king g3, check. King f4, check. King f3, check. He cannot block. Check. And if he goes too far, you go here and you take the pawn. This is an easy draw. So now let's get back to the game. Did my opponent know this technique? I thought he should know. He's around 2000 rated. He didn't. He didn't. And he made his life really very much worse. So he allowed me to get to his king almost and push the pawn. And the difference here is that I have very annoying threats. And this is not as easy, but still it's a draw. But let's see what happened next. So I went here. I went here. Now checkmate is threatened. So he went king g1, which is the best move. The only move to draw. I gave him a check. And I went here. And at this point, I was really reconsidering my evaluation of the position. I knew that it should be a draw, but still I thought that maybe I can trick him because already we are both low on time. We are both playing on increment, so we both have around 1 minute and we are playing like with 30 seconds on each move. And I'm like, how is he going to stop my pawn? How is he going to stop the advancement of my king and my pawn? How? I checked him, gaining some more time. I'm not in a rush. I went here. So if he goes here now, I can check him, and he has to take, and my pawn is queening. So this is not something he wants to achieve. So he goes back. He still avoids the losing sequence of moves, so he's still drawing with perfect play. F3. Now it gets even more tricky, even trickier, because if he checks me, I go here, and again, if he takes, my pawn is queening. So that's also something he should avoid. He checks me from the third rank, still a theoretical draw, but it gets trickier with every move. Here I go rook e2, and now I want to check him, discover check by my rook, and then go f2, and then queen. Here he goes rook b3, and suddenly, this is a losing position. I didn't know that at the time. Obviously, I don't have the computer evaluation. And we both are playing on increment, 30 seconds. So now here I was like, okay, I will gain a little bit more extra time and then think what to do, how to try to win this. But actually, I could have won right here. I could have checked him, check, discover check by the rook. So he has this move as his only option. Now this. And I briefly looked at this in my mind, but I didn't find the way forward. I thought he can just check me and then go here and harass my pawn. But turns out I have this move. I just missed this. And once he goes here, I can just like, I don't know, rook a3, for example. His king is cut off. Next move is this and queening, or this and queening. This is very easy. I don't know. I got too carried away maybe with the process, so I didn't see it, unfortunately, at the time. But it's not the end of the game. So I went rook d2. The position is drawn again. He goes rook a3. I go king e2, trying to queen my pawn. He goes rook a8, and again, the position becomes winning for me. This is crazy. I thought after the game, before checking the computer, I thought probably this endgame was drawn, but it was at this time not drawn at all. It was winning for me. So the correct move here was f2, and I don't know why I didn't go f2. I just don't know. You can ask me 100 times. I will not find a plausible explanation. Probably I didn't like this, I think. And if I go here, he goes here. Yes, that's what I saw, I think. But I have this move. What didn't I like? Maybe I thought that, yeah, I think I didn't see a way forward, but I have rook d3, for example. And if this, then what does the computer give as the winning sequence? This? Check from behind, and then king g1. I'm so stupid. You know, I'm not good at endgames. I'm not Magnus Carlsen, so I didn't see it. Also, I had like 30 seconds at this point. So in this position, I went rook d1, which squandered my advantage. f2 was winning, easily winning. Crazy, you know. Even experienced players make mistakes in those endgames because this is very tricky. So again, this is the position. Rook d1, check, I block. He goes here. And yeah, the position is drawn again. I could check him here, but he would have gone here, and this is a draw. Check here, I go back, and he just checks me. So this is what I looked at in my mind, and I decided against this here. So I went king f2, trying to find some resources, still not understanding what's going on. He went rook a3, I went rook d4, check. And here he found king g3. And it's, again, a drawn endgame, and I don't have enough resources. Now he's threatening to check me and take this pawn. So I go rook d3, he goes back, now he's threatening this checks. I go here, and he just waits, and he checks me, and I don't see any way forward, so he checks me, and it's the 100th move, and I offer him a draw because my pawn is falling. So at two moments in this game, 2 moments. This moment, not this moment. This moment. At this moment, I was winning. F2. Move 90. And also turns out that at this point, I was winning as well. This is crazy. Why? Why didn't I see it? So this point, right? In the game. Yeah, this point in the game, I was winning as well. King f1 check. crazy. But we both played quite an accurate game, 91% for each of us accuracy according to the computer. Just those stupid mistakes in the end game. I'm so unhappy about it. But still, I'm in the group of winners. Tomorrow, I'm playing a strong opponent from Malta, a Maltese candidate master. He's actually the national champion of Malta. He's also rated around 2000. He has been he was rated 2300 previously, but he lost some rating points. He's on 4 out of 4 points. I'm on 3 out of 4 points. So I will have to play for a win to try to win the tournament. It will be tricky, but I'll do my best, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next recap. Please write in the comments if you liked these comments about the game, and if it was instructive for you or not, the Rook Endgames. It's tricky, you know. Okay, see you. Bye-bye.